Hello, everybody, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 305, entitled The Game Awards 2024. And you're probably noticing that somebody is missing. That's right, Steve is missing today. It's the first episode, probably ever, that Steve is not here. There might have been one other. So I'll be your host tonight, Barry. And today I am joined by Greg. How you doing, Greg?
Doing pretty good. Sorry for the delay, everyone. It's like our very first time doing this recording without Steve, so it was a lot getting me up to speed and learning some of the technologies and even brand new technology because it's not even the same set of software that Steve uses. So it was a lot of effort to one get it all configured and set up, but then two actually like getting it to start running. And definitely apologize for the link changing at the last minute, but that's just because I didn't realize a button was actually to hit stop and was misleading, and it was I thought it said go live, so I do apologize for the link change at the last second here.
That's all right. Consider this a bonus episode. We were gonna end. Usually we end our season with the game of the year, which was 2 weeks ago. So if you haven't checked that out, shameless plug, go check that out. Steve was not able to make it tonight, and we said, hey, you know what? Let's do a bonus episode. Let's give you guys a little Christmas present. Let's go live. Let's go have some fun. There's a lot of news to talk about. So, just a quick reminder that on YouTube and all of your favorite podcast apps, please subscribe and give us a 5 star, rating. We do appreciate that, and follow us on all the social media platforms and our Discord. The links to those will be in the podcast show notes and the YouTube description. As always, we start out talking about what we've been playing. So we want to hear what you've been playing. So let us know. And Greg, what have you been up to?
Well, it's been a much lighter week as I had a lot of preparation to getting everything all set here on getting all this podcasts and all the stuff configured, so at least looks somewhat like it normally does, but obviously it's a little bit different because there is different stuff there. But games that I was playing, I did continue my journey with Mario and Luigi Brothership, still going through there. I believe I was just making it up to, I just had passed the second boss and going into like the third region, going towards like the third lighthouse and stuff. So I've really enjoyed my experience with the game so far, as I outlined on the Game of the Year episode. But essentially, still making some progress there, conquering some more islands and all that kind of fun stuff there. Um, I have been watching some one of a streamer that I follow play through Zelda 2 Adventure of Link, and then I decided to actually go through and um, I actually beat it in like a single, like two different like nights or whatever, just because like how good I am at the going through the game. So I know it's touted as one of the hardest there is, but I was able to do it in just like 2 nights. I did like the first like four palaces in the first night in like a hour or two, and then finished it up the rest of the game in the back half. So still a lot of fun and still one of my upper tier Zelda games on my list, but it was still good to revisit that one. And then I'm still doing the mobile games like the Roblox games with my daughter and stuff. There's a number of winter updates going on there for a few of the games that she plays, like the Adopt Me type game and also the Dress to Impress game. And then still trying to wrap up Simpsons Tapped Out, as it's counting down to like literally like 40 days until it's the shutdown day. So I'm hoping to get everything all in order and make like a final video of my town before it goes offline next month.
Ooh, countdown coming up. The terrible part of mobile games. Go into the chat. Jakester has played more Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher, got back to Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and still playing Pikmin Bloom and Pokemon Sleep. Speaking of mobile games. For myself, I don't remember which exactly was during the last 2 weeks, or some was may have been during the 2 weeks prior because we didn't do what we've been playing last time. But on the Switch, still playing Pokemon Unite and Star Wars Hunters as dailies. Still enjoying both games. Tetris 99, I went back to for the latest NES style Maximus Cup that we talked about last episode. Played a little bit of Georgie Yoki, which is a 3D platformer in the vein of Banjo Kazooie. Played some Goblin Sword, which was a game I picked up for like $1.99. It does feel like a mobile game. It's like an action platformer, but I've surprisingly had a lot of fun with it. It's just like a mindless, uh, game that I just had some fun. So figure for $1.99, I'd try it and just been playing that. Playing some Victory Heat Rally, which we will be doing a game chat on here soon. Playing a game called Savant Accent Remix, which we'll have a review here soon as well. But it's like uh, pretty much it's a shmup type game, but you're pretty much character in the center, shooting at things that are coming towards you, and you can move left and right as well to dodge, but things will come below. It's a really cool game. It's not very long, and the remix has a second mode, and I wound up beating the first mode, and the I was like, oh, well, I want to do the remix, and I did the remix in probably like 20 minutes, like just no death. It was much easier, but had a lot of fun with that one. Played a game called Glitch Hero, which we'll have a review for up on our YouTube soon, which is like a Zelda style game that also teaches basic coding. It's geared more towards the younger audience, but it was a lot of fun. Played some Super Spy Raccoon, another game that we will have a game chat on. It's an arcade style, like old school Donkey Kong style game. Played some more Vampire Survivors, another game we'll have a game chat on here. But this winter, I've been doing this Castlevania like kind of like marathon I've been going through. So I've been doing Vampire Survivors Ode to Castlevania. Got all 40 of the main characters. I'm working on the bonus characters now. I've unlocked. It's a lot of content. There's a lot of content in that DLC, and it's a lot of fun. But speaking of Castlevania, Castlevania Advanced Collection, I went to and I beat all four games on there. That's Circle of the Moon, Harmony of Dissonance, Aria of Sorrow, and Dracula X. I went through and played and beat all four of them. Wonderful games, even Dracula X, which is significantly tougher and very jarring when you play the DS or the GBA Metroidvania style, and then you go and play Dracula X, which is in the vein of like Castlevania One in terms of control. But Rewind helps a bit there too. But happily beat all those. On the PS5, played some Fantasia Neo Dimension, which I really enjoy, and I think is a wonderful game. And I got halfway through the game, and I had to quit, and I didn't want to quit, but the game gave me massive headaches and dizziness because the game is designed they built these like dioramas, which is really cool, and it's almost like pre-rendered backgrounds. But the problem is when you go around a corner, the image just changes. It doesn't like move smooth. It's just changes new image. And when you're in a town where there's a lot of different angles, that change happens all the time, and it just effed with my head. The other thing is when a change happens, the control doesn't realign. It just acts as if like up is up on one screen, but up might be like up and to the left. So suddenly you're holding up and you're like going up to the left as the camera changes. And it's really jarring. And the only way to fix it is to stop moving completely and then move again. And when you do that, every camera change, it does get jarring, at least for me. So while I wanted to continue and beat the game, I got halfway through and loved it, but it made me physically sick. So I couldn't continue. But I did go back to Astrobot, and they added 5 speedrun challenges as well as a Christmas themed level. So I went and did all those and got 100% again in the game. And what a great game it is. We'll talk about that a little bit. And I went back to Sonic X Shadow Generations. I'd only done the Shadow Generations when I played it earlier, but they added the DLC level for the movie with Keanu Reeves. So I played through that and said, while I'm here, let me play through Sonic Generations again. So I played through Sonic Generations again. Still a great game, although it's Sonic and 3D Sonic, and anyone that tells you 3D Sonic controls well doesn't play video games because it plays terribly in that regards. You're gonna fall, you're gonna drop. Like Sonic is jank Sonic. Even the Sonic '06 level feels like Sonic '06, and if you played '06, you know what I mean. PC still playing Final Fantasy 14, and on mobile playing Mario Kart Tour, the New York Times games, and Pokemon TCG Pocket still.
No Camp complete
So
for you then?
no, 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 no. I didn't. I didn't get it yet. I'm still debating. It's $10 right now still, but I did not pick up Pocket Camp Complete. But I might. I might. But TCG Pocket just launched the newest pack today, the newest set. I don't know if you played it all or thought about it, but it is a lot of fun. I got Steve into it, so uh, it's just a great experience so far.
Yeah,
A lot of fun.
Neo RPG game that you were talking about, I believe that just launched on Switch too. I think I saw some articles as I was looking through
Yep.
headlines too, so I wasn't sure if that would be up my alley, but then I'm also got quite a backlog of RPGs already. I didn't know if I'd want to add another one to my list.
It's from Sakaguchi, the father of Final Fantasy. The music is Uematsu, like it's Mistwalker. It is if you like Final Fantasy, it is absolutely something you will enjoy, which I know you do. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the characters. It just made me physically ill. It's the only reason I stopped. If there was a way that I could make smooth transitions and the camera and the controls not change, I probably would go back to it. But as of now, I can't. In fact, just thinking about it kind of makes me dizzy. So I'm like, oh, I hate to quit it. I didn't want to quit it, but sometimes you just have to throw in the towel, not for difficulty, but for other reasons. And I guess that's a problem with getting older, right? We're old men now, and it just happens.
Yeah, I've only
Uh,
played 4 and 6, and I still
Staying to
need
the
to
chat.
play through the other ones, and I do have, like, that pixel remaster of,
Oh,
like, 1 through 6 or whatever it is on I downloaded on Switch because of how insane the physical price was for that limited release, but, I did wanna try to hopefully dive through
oh,
that at
now it
some
now it's
point.
Square finally reprinted that, so now it's cheaper at least. But yeah, definitely Final Fantasy 1 to 6 are great games. I just want to go to the chat real quick. Jaster said he missed the theme for Tetris, sadly. They're talking about the NES theme that happened. Dragon Lord said, "Good evening, everybody, and happy holidays." Good evening and happy holidays, Dragon Lord. And Jakester said, "I've actually never seen stuff from Sonic 06." Oh, consider yourself lucky. And if you want to torture yourself, play the game, and especially like 360 or even worse, the PS3 version. That's real bad. And you stream that, I'll probably laugh and watch that. And I beat Sonic 06 on 360. I suffered through that. I got the achievement to prove it. It is not a good game. It could be a good game. There's a good game in there. It just needs a lot of repair. And those loading. Oh, that has to be the worst loading of any video game I've ever played. Is Sonic 06. Like you walk to an NPC, and they're like, "Oh, they have a quest for me." So you press the button to talk to them. There's a load screen. So you wait 30 seconds to load. Then the NPC tells, "Oh, I want you to do this for me." Then there's another 30-second load screen. Now you're in the event of whatever you have to do. When that ends, you have another 30-second load screen, and then the results screen appears. Then another 30-second load screen brings you back to the NPC who says, "Congratulations on doing it." And one more 30-second load screen till you finally able to can run around in the hub again. It is terrible. It is terrible, and on PS3 it's worse.
Yikes.
It is bad, but let's get off the bat. Let's go some headlines. We got some headlines tonight. So Greg, why don't you kick us off with some Alarmo news?
Alright, so, everyone knows that the Alarmo launched here back I think worldwide back in October, but I guess they released at least Nintendo Japan released a statement saying that, um, just kind of a a postponement saying that they weren't prepared, I guess, for to have a sufficient stock or whatever, so then they are postponing the general public release all the way back to mid-February of 2025 due to some production and, inventory situation with the product. So they had, like, an official statement that they posted, online, and obviously it's kinda sad to see for anyone that was excited to get the clock in J at least in Japan. I don't know if it affects worldwide. I did see that it was still available on NOA as of this recording. So I guess the Japan stock is just kind of more limited at this point in time.
Well, speaking of Alarmo, when they announced it, they told us that DLC would in fact be coming, and DLC has arrived. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sounds and effects have been added to your Alarmo, so if you're one of those that do have it, feel free to update and race away.
Nintendo's been making several updates to the music application. So, right, pretty much just literally yesterday, they added some soundtrack selections from Skyward Sword, but also earlier this month they added stuff from Wave Race 64. And I don't believe we covered it on the last podcast, even though it was, I guess, technically added. But there was like Splatoon 2 and even Brain Age have been added in the last month as well, in addition to some other tracks we have covered on previous episodes. It's great to see them continuing to support that music application, and here's to hope that more games make it on the way soon.
And speaking of adding things, last time we did talk about the big lot of NSO updates. for games that Nintendo was doing. And one of those hadn't come out yet, but we talked about was NES Tetris, which has been added. But they didn't tell us everything because, as a surprise, in addition to NES Tetris, Tetris DX was added for the Game Boy Color to the Game Boy app. So if you enjoy your Tetris, there's two more Tetris games now on the Switch.
And in case you didn't get enough of Tetris or hearing news of Tetris, they have the 44th Maximus Cup event, which will be starting in just a few days here on the 19th at 11 p.m. Pacific time, and it'll run through almost up till Christmas on the 23rd. You can get some points and unlock different, like a new theme for the Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom for anyone that participates in the cup and gathers enough points.
Yes, and for those that have that competitive spirit in them, Nintendo is doing their Nintendo versus holiday tournaments. They will be doing tournaments for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Splatoon 3. And these are happening later this month. So make sure to check them out if you're in the competitive mood.
Joining to the rumor wheel for Switch 2, I guess one of Nintendo's partners that's responsible for manufacturing, um, like I guess their systems or hardware or whatever. It adds to the rumor that they posted like a huge net increase in profits for during October and November last year. So a lot of speculation is across that the Switch 2 production has now officially been underway, and that's hopefully leading to an upcoming launch here in the first half of 2025. So I guess stay tuned to see if anything else comes through with that.
Now, speaking of Switch news and stuff, Switchmas is happening. No Gravity Games has been doing their annual Switchmas giveaway. This started on December 9th and runs up until the 19th. So if you haven't gotten in on this, you can still get in. Every one of these games is discounted right now. So in order to get the free games, you need to own all the previous ones. So if you didn't get them, you can buy all of them up until today's game, which is Saijin, and then you would get Saijin for free. And there's two more games, one for tomorrow and one for the 19th, that will be free for you as well. So if you're into free games or cheap games, check it out.
I guess Nintendo now officially owns Monolithsoft. So I guess there was only like 4% of the ownership that was still kind of they didn't previously have already, but they now have an official listing to be a full-on fledged partner, similar like a full-on second-party partner to be fully owned by Nintendo now. So I guess that's a really good choice for Nintendo there, as they're obviously known for the Xenoblade series and probably some other very known critically acclaimed games.
And for those of you that have been watching some streaming shows, you might have Amazon Prime, and you might have seen Secret Level, their video game anthology series that has 15 episodes. All 15 are streaming as of today, based on properties like Pac-Man, Mega Man, Armored Core. There's a Sifu. There's a bunch of different series out there. Well, today Amazon has announced that they have renewed the series for a season two. So if you did enjoy what you've seen or you haven't seen it yet, just know that more is to come.
And we got one more game show coming up. This is the Indie Game Awards, and this will be airing on the 19th. So just in 2 days here, this next Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So you can tune in to see different games, game winners for various categories, just solely based on actual indie companies and indie games that released throughout the year. So I think that closes us out on the headlines then.
Absolutely. So, Greg, let's go through the headlines quickly. What stands out to you?
Well, obviously, it was great that Alarmo and stuff was getting updates along with the Nintendo Music app, and even like the NES and the Game Boy apps all got updates for new content. It's great to see more stuff getting added, and always, obviously, we all wish that it could already been already available, but I guess it's always better late than never. They always say. So I'm glad that they're continuing to add more stuff there. It's obviously kind of disappointing, at least for Japan, to have the Alarmo launch being delayed, but I guess that could be tied to the Switch stuff, that's Switch 2 stuff that's ongoing. So I don't know if there's something that tied in there, but it's hard. Only speculation at this point. You don't know for sure. In terms of like the holiday tournaments, that sounds pretty cool. I just wish I had time to join some of those or was good enough to really compete in at least Splatoon or Smash. Haven't touched those in ages. And Mario Kart, even though I am a self-proclaimed really good player at it, I don't know if I do very well in the tournament like setting. So um, I did play some online matches with my wife, I think just in the last like month or so, and like I was pretty much getting first place across the board, but I think that's before all the new people get on board and start owning again, and probably most of the better players have already moved on to lots of other games that have been out there over time. So um, yeah, there's that. And then I kind of briefly touched on the manufacturing partner thing. That's very interesting piece that I saw, and I know that's kind of fueling the fire for the Switch 2 rumors. And I know there's even more stuff that we didn't talk about with like stuff being like leaked online from like accessory holders and other stuff that dives into that realm of the rumor mill. Pretty great that like, there's the Switchmas giveaway stuff. I was telling you right before, I didn't really even realize that, and I might have to go through and try to purchase a few of those. Hopefully, there's some good games in there. And then I did see the secret level stuff. I wasn't sure if that would be podcast worthy at the time because I only had saw Mega Man. I didn't realize it was more like Pac Man and other ones, and even if it was going to be live. So I might be trying to check out that because I know we have like an Amazon Prime membership. And then, yeah, hoping to potentially watch the Game Awards if I'm not too busy. Might be something to have on in the background while we wrap presents and stuff for the holidays. And I guess it's really great to see that Monolithsoft is officially a second party maker now that they're fully owned by Nintendo. So I don't know if it's a congrats to them or good job well done, but here's hoping to see some more high quality games from them in the future.
Absolutely. So yeah, I agree with you. It sucks about the Alarmo delay. But while I don't have an Alarmo yet, I'm happy to see them starting to actually give in on their promise and add some stuff. Love that they're adding stuff to Nintendo Music. I think that was probably the one complaint people did have with it. It was like, oh, there's music missing, and they're rectifying that, and they're using it to trickle out and make it more of an event thing, and I'm cool with that. In fact, when Wave Race was added, I went and started playing some Wave Race music, which was cool. I'm happy to see Tetris DX there. I'm happy for any NSO game they add, especially now that we know it's Switch 2, so it's a Switch 2 launch title. The Maximus Cup, I honestly didn't even see that until you posted it in our headlines, Greg. So I'll be doing that this weekend. That's one thing, especially with it being a Zelda theme. The holiday tournaments, they can be fun to watch. I could compete, but I don't think I would do very well. So I'll leave that to the people who play far more than I do. I haven't touched these games in a while, but I do, especially Smash. I love to watch Smash stuff, so I'll look into that. I'm happy to hear that Nintendo's partners are the manufacturer partners are posting profit earnings and their increase in revenue is great. Build up for Switch 2. I'm all ready for it. Let's go. The next podcast we have could all be about the Switch 2. We don't know what's going to be announced or when. So one another reason why I'm glad we're doing this episode now. As for the Switchmas giveaway, I've been doing it every day. There's been a lot of new games. I've done all the previous ones, so there's a lot of new ones this time. My wife does it as well. It's free video games, and they're games. I mean, these aren't going to be game of the year games, but you can have a lot of fun. They're cheapo games, and some of them that I've gotten from them for free have been really entertaining. So you can't say no to free games. You get it, you can just delete it from your Switch if you don't want it right now, and you can always download it later. I'm happy to see Nintendo now take full ownership of Monolithsoft. A lot of people think of Monolithsoft with the Xenosaga and Xenoblade and Xenogears, but they do so much more. They work on Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, Mario Kart, Animal Crossing. Like they have been a big help to Nintendo across the board. So it's awesome to have them fully under their umbrella. And now I just wish that Nintendo could talk to Bandai and let Bandai sell Nintendo the Xenosaga and the Bait and Kados IP, and maybe Square will sell them the Xenogears IP, and we can go from there. But we'll see. Secret Level's been interesting thus far. I watched some of last week's episodes. I haven't seen any from today yet. they're interesting. First one I watched was a Pac-Man episode, which was not what I was expecting. But when I watched the Game Awards, which we'll talk about here shortly, it kind of made sense. But well, yeah, it's been interesting. I just wish for the shows if there was some kind of format, because I know the Mega Man episode dropped today, and I was so excited for it naturally. But I heard it's also only 5 minutes, and I'm like, what? Why all this build up? I've been so excited. 5 minutes. I'm sure it's gonna be like the best 5 minutes, but it's still like I wish there was some kind of format where they said you need to be at least 15 minutes or something. I didn't see the Armored Core one yet, but I think it's really cool. Like Keanu Reeves, isn't it? So definitely have to check that out. And then the Indie Game Awards, we talked about this prior. Really excited for this and what comes from this because there's so many games, and that was the problem when we talked about the Game Awards last time was that there are so many games that aren't even talked about. So this gives some more light to some of these games that the mainstream probably hasn't even seen. So again, those are on the 19th, so in 2 days at 7 p.m. Eastern. So do check them out and have them on in the background, like you said. Go into the chat. Let's see what we got here. Jesse Glenn says no gravity this season had bangers. No More Snow is actually super fun. That was the first game that came out. Jakester says that he never played Tetris DX, so he's gonna have to try it. And he has a PS3, but he can't stream Sonic 06. Well, that's okay, Jakester. Play the PS3 version and then come back to us with your thoughts. He says, knowing Square, he doubts that they will sell Xenosaga to Nintendo. Bandai is weird and hard to say. I agree, but anything's possible. And Dragon Lord says, I guess we will keep our fingers crossed. He said, let's hope that Monolithsoft update means we could expect more Xenoblade game titles in the future after Xeno Chronicles X comes out next year. They're working on Xeno 4. I don't see them stopping right now. Xenoblade has turned into a multi-million dollar IP for them. And Monolithsoft, this is their baby. Monolithsoft has done nothing but good things for Nintendo. Like I said, working behind the scenes. Obviously, Nintendo agrees because they just bought the other 4%. So they feel that Monolithsoft is doing great work, and they want them to make the games they enjoy. And what they enjoy is obviously the Xenoblade games, and I'm very happy about that. Jakester then said, if it's not anime IPs, Bandai will either do Dark Souls or Tekken. Possible. And Dragon Lord said, I agree. It's such a huge series now, and they keep getting better as time goes on. I agree. More people should play Xenoblade, like Greg. Uh,
You don't even mention the elephant in the room of the person that's not here too.
but I didn't. You're right. But Steve has played and beat Torna, and has played a good chunk of Xenoblade X, and you played. I don't even know if you left Chapter 1 of Xeno 3. So Steve is ahead of you in this game. So you could use this time off, right? This holiday to play some Xeno 3 and really like come back and pass Steve. And then I'll get on Steve's case more.
So that I have to log another 100 hours in the next like 4 days, and
4 days.
well, I know
What are you talking
I was just throwing that out there because I know that for the game of the year for several years, now like 2 or 3 years ago, you had to cram like 100 hours into like a
about?
weekend to
That
see if.
was 2017 when Xeno 2 came out, and it sucked. I had like 2 days to make my opinion on Xeno 2 and where it puts for game of the year versus Breath of the Wild, which I had hundreds of hours to play and plenty of time to do it. All right. So let's go over to our main topic right now, which is the Game Awards. The Game Awards happened last Thursday. Jeff Keighley's annual award show slash video game commercial. Um, there was positives, negatives. People love it. People hate it. It's mixed reactions all across the board, but we should talk about it because it's the biggest game thing happening in December. So let's go through. What we're going to do is we're going to go through. I'm going to read the awards. We're going to go 3 awards at a time, and we're going to discuss our thoughts. And you guys in the chat, let us know your thoughts on these 3 awards first. We're going to go in the order that Polygon has it, which is probably backwards, but that's okay. That way, if you want to leave after we talk about game of the year, you can. You've got it right from the start.
We could at least put
But please stick
you
around.
could do the final game of the year one last. I can scroll all the way to the bottom. You can start with the one right below that one, and then
All
just
right,
go in
we
that
could do
order.
that. We'll do game of the year last. You hear that? If you were hoping for that one, you now have to stick around for a bit. Greg ruined it for you, but hopefully you were planning on sticking around anyways. All right. So best game direction. Winner was Astrobot, but also nominated Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio. Best ongoing game, the winner was Helldivers 2, Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, and Fortnite were all nominated. Best art direction, the winner was Metaphor ReFantazio, Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, and Neva were also nominated. So, Greg, what are your thoughts on these three categories, and which would you have picked, and what do you think of the winner?
Well, as with majority of these categories, I haven't played the bulk of the games that are represented here. But at least for best game direction, I am glad to see Astrobot was there because I did nominate that as my other like non-Nintendo game of the year in our own podcast last episode. If you missed that, so I was pretty happy to see it win like at least a few awards here. Spoiler alert, sorry, but this is not the only category that they won. In terms of like the best ongoing game, a lot of those like really don't play a ton of at least ongoing games, especially the ones that are nominated. I know for a while on the Wii U, I did like Mario Maker and stuff, but that kind of ceases to exist. I'm trying to go through all the have some variety in my life, so I guess I'm okay with Helldivers 2 winning because had I think it also won like a few other awards and stuff because it must be a really great game. And then in terms of like the art direction, I mean, I was kind of surprised that Astrobot didn't nab this one too, because at least from all the trailers and stuff, the footage I've seen of Astrobot, it looks very incredible to me, and I'm kind of honestly surprised. But obviously, no offense to like the makers of like the Metaphor Refantismo, but I really did like at least what I've seen of Astrobot, and pri- possibly it might have been snubbed, but I don't know for sure because I haven't played this other game. But still great to see at least in these first three that is a variety of winners and not just all the one game winner too.
Yeah, I agree. So best game direction, Astrobot is a good pick. I think most of them in this category are very strong. I still think Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree shouldn't be there as DLC, but that's besides the point. I'm okay with Astrobot winning this one. Best ongoing game, I think Helldivers 2 shouldn't even been nominated, simply because it came out this year and all the other games actually didn't. They're ongoing games from previous years. And I know I'm biased, so 14 for me was the clear winner. But at least the other ones all came out previous years that are updated. Helldivers 2 is hasn't even been out for a year yet, so it kind of feels weird that that gets over, in the ongoing category, which almost feels like you have to be around for a year in my book to even be nominated.
Yeah, that's very
Um,
interesting. I would agree with that. Like, I didn't realize it was released this year, and I guess that makes sense why it might have won like a few other awards. But then it wouldn't really necessarily be an ongoing game because it wasn't one that's been just being built upon like over time as like all the other games here are. Like Fortnite, I know
It
is
is
just
it is being built upon, but it's still this year,
well, yeah,
so
yeah, and that's fine.
it's
That's what I'm saying. It could easily be a contender for like next year's, but I wouldn't think that you would have an ongoing game be a brand new game that was introduced this year. I mean, unless it was like
exactly.
January 1st or something at launch, and then it's been doing constant updates
It
since.
was early. It was, I think, February. I think it was a February
I
release.
guess it's not as bad, but I really do agree with you. It probably should have been something that was released at least in the previous year or late
Yeah.
or sooner than that.
And then for best art direction, I Metaphor, absolutely. That game is beautiful. The art is beautiful. The stylistic, I love that Persona style, and it just oozes charm. So I love Astrobot, but I think Metaphor blows it out of the water with art personally. Um, So moving on, we got best mobile game. Balatro won that. AFK The Journey or AFK Journey, Wuthering Waves, Zenless Zone Zero, and Pokemon TCG Pocket were all nominated. Best narrative, Metaphor ReFantazio won. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2 were also nominated. And best performance went to Millennia Jurgens from Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. Other nominations were Brianna White, Hannah Tell, Humphrey Gonzalez or Humberly Gonzalez, and Luke Roberts. So from these three categories, Greg, what are your thoughts?
I had heard a lot of good things for Elatro. I don't know if it's something that might end up checking out because I think that's on like it's like on like whatever Apple and Android devices. So I don't know if it's something I might need to look further into because I've heard other people even mention it like it was being a pretty solid game. So that does sound pretty good. Obviously, kind of surprised that the Pokemon card game didn't get it based on how popular Pokemon is, but obviously, really great work to be able to defeat Pokemon. In terms of like the narrative, I you were just saying how the metaphor Refantismo was a great game, so I guess it's pretty good to see that they won that. It's obviously a very story centric game, so that's obviously pretty good for it to topple like a game like Final Fantasy, even though it's a old Final Fantasy one. And then in terms of performance, I mean, old as in Final Fantasy VII it came out years ago. I know Rebirth is like a sequel to it, but it's obviously like a retro like
It's like a
styled. Yeah,
retelling.
yeah, yeah. That's what I was meaning by that. I wasn't trying to say like there's a game from like 10 years ago that was nominated here for best performance. Didn't really don't really have much to really add on there. Didn't play the Sarun Saga Hellblade 2, so um, obviously I would have preferred obviously like Life is Strange or something like that, but I haven't even played that one yet, so I don't even know if it's would be worthy to beat the winner, the one that was selected here. So I don't know if you had any thoughts on any of these three.
Yeah. So for mobile, I mean, I like Pocket, but I understand why it didn't win because it just came out and the content is light. You can battle, you can't trade yet, you can open the packs. It's a great pickup, play for a few minutes, put down, come back, 12 hours later and do again. Balatro makes sense. I mean, it was the only one of these games that's also in the Game of the Year category, so that pretty much solidifies it. But I have friends that are addicted to Balatro, so I can't fault it there. Best narrative, I agree. Metaphor absolutely is a great story, a great political story. Really goes in there with the highest of highs of RPGs. So happy to see that one win. And performance, I wanted Hannah Tell. I'm not gonna lie, I wanted Hannah Tell. I thought she did a great job in Double Exposure. I didn't play Senua Saga Hellblade 2, so no shade at all to Millennia or Melina. Like I'm sure you did a great job. I believe she won for the first one as well. So I mean, that's her role. Like she's embodied it. So I can't fault anything. I was just pulling for Hannah, but I know that she did a great job as well. So before we move on, I just want to go to the chat, see what the chat's been saying. So Jakester says we should make a podcast pestering Greg to finish Xeno 3. I think that sounds like a great podcast. I think we should do that. He's surprised that Helldivers 2 won ongoing. Dragon Lord said that he thinks that ongoing would have a standard minimum release time to qualify at least 2+ years. I said at least a year. He says at least 2+ years. So think about that. He was also happy to see Metaphor among the winners. I agree, concur. Um, Dragon Lord said, let's see, he actually hasn't played Diablo 4 before, so that's why I didn't notice it was released so recently. Because Jakester corrected him and said it was released uh, less than 2 years ago, and it was released mid last year. Dragon Lord also said, "Yay for FF7 Rebirth." Didn't win, but yay for 7 Rebirth from him. And all right, so let's go back to those awards. All right, so next was I said 7 didn't win. Well, now it did. Best score in music won Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Astrobot, Metaphor, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade were all nominated. Best audio went to Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, Astrobot, Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, 7 Rebirth, and Silent Hill 2 were all nominated there. And best adaptation winner was Fallout, Arcane, Knuckles, Like a Dragon, Yakuza, and Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft were all nominated there as well. So, Greg, what are your thoughts on these three categories?
It doesn't really surprise me that Final Fantasy did get an actual win here for music because I know based on the very few Final Fantasy games that I've played and even from overhearing other people that the music in pretty much nearly all the games are fantastic. So I'm not surprised that they wouldn't have at least won like the music category. I was kind of surprised they also didn't get best audio, but maybe the Hellblade 2 might have just had to edge it out, or might need another had some further competition there. In terms of the adaptation, not really don't really play tons of the games that are adapted from like other things or whatever, so it's probably seems like a pretty solid winner. I know, like, I don't know if it's this Fallout's related
Well,
to like
these
the
are
Fallout
TV
New
shows
Vegas and
adapted
the
from
other
video
older
games, Greg.
Fallout games,
Like,
but
or movies adapted
I
from
think
video
you're
games.
muted there, Barry.
You
Yeah,
there,
I
Greg?
think you had muted yourself, I think.
No, you disappeared for me. It was
Oh.
weird. These are adaptations, like these are movies or TV shows adapted from video game stuff.
Ah, okay. And then I was saying I wasn't sure if like Fallout was kind of related to like Fallout New Vegas or if that's just completely
Yeah.
something separate.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all part of that same universe. Yeah, it's a TV
Yeah.
show from on Amazon.
All right. Yeah. Then I'm also then not surprised because I know my one cousin that I'll be seeing this holiday. He absolutely loves like the Fallout game, so it kind of doesn't surprise me that it um, wouldn't win at least one of these awards here.
Yeah, no. So for me, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth made sense for music. Final Fantasy music is beautiful. It's wonderful. So it was a clear winner. For audio, yeah, I'm like you. I feel like Seven Rebirth could have won that as well. But I didn't play Hellblade 2. Astrobot probably could have won that too, but who knows? I don't know why, but they are separate categories. For best adaptation, Fallout TV show is fantastic. My wife, who doesn't like any first person shooter, and I only played Fallout 3, we both fell in love with the series and we enjoyed it. So it was a good watch. Would have liked to see Knuckles win. I know some people weren't the biggest fan, but we enjoyed the bowling aspect of it. But yeah, it's great to see some non-game awards in the Game Awards show. Moving on, we got best multiplayer winner Helldivers 2 again. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Warhammer 40K, Space Marine 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, and Tekken 8 were all up for those. Best independent game went to Balatro. Animal Well, Lorelei, and the Laser Eyes, Neva, and UFO 50 were all nominated as well. And best debut indie game also went to Balatro. Animal Well, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and The Plucky Squire were all nominated. So, Greg, of these three, what are your thoughts?
Well, at least for multiplayer, I know I had a few struggles with Mario Party Jamboree, so maybe other people kind of agree. But I guess with having like a ongoing game like that's kind of like Fortnite and stuff that is Helldivers 2, it guess doesn't come as a surprise there that it won. But obviously, it would have been nice to see some other representation there. In terms of the best independent game, I know I would definitely was rooting for Animal Well when I was watching it on the television because I had played Animal Well and even put it high in my list last podcast. But obviously, I understand that Balatro, it sounds like it's a very good game that I might be checking out here. But yeah, good job to win a or another two awards this kind of time around. And then obviously Animal Well was nominated for indie debut as well. And I've also heard pretty good things for the Plucky Squire, so I don't know if that's another game that I might be checking out as well too. But yeah, I guess it sounds like Balatro at least took two of the three awards that we covered in this batch. But yeah.
Yeah, for multiplayer, I would like to see Mario Party win, but it was kind of tough, I think. The Helldivers 2 has this big, like it blew up in terms of just player base, and a lot of people really seem to enjoy it. So I have no problem with it winning there. Independent game, I was kind of hoping for UFO 50. I haven't played it. I just think the concept of it is fantastic, and I hope it comes to Switch because I would love to play it there. But Balacho heard again nothing but great things for it, so I'm fine with it. And best debut indie game, I was pulling for Plucky Squire. I think it looks fantastic. Tried to get us review codes, but that failed. But Balacho wins that one as well. So the next group has is there anything in the chat? Let's see. Um Jakester says what actually counts as best audio. I'm not sure. I guess sound effects, and ambience maybe. Dragon Lord says I've yet to play a Final Fantasy game from 7 through 16 that hasn't had a killer soundtrack or background music. And I said, well, you need to play 1 to 6. And he said, was the music poor quality? No, the music was fantastic. That's why you need to play them, because you only played 7 to 16. You need to go back and play 1 to 6 because you're missing the best ones. Um, Jakester says, plus Mario Party only came out a month before the Game Awards. That is true. That is true. So let's move on to the next set. Most anticipated game went to Grand Theft Auto 6. Was that really a surprise? That, like, they're actually devs scared to announce when their game's going to come out in fear of Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out. Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotai, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Monster Hunter Wilds were all nominated as well. Best role playing game went to Metaphor ReFantazio, Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth were all nominated. And games for impact went to Neva, Closer the Distance, Indica, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, and Tales of Kin Zero Zhao were also nominated. So, Greg, on these three categories, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I fully agree with you. As soon as I saw that Grand Theft Auto 6 was one of the contenders, I'm like, there's no way this is gonna not win. Even though in my heart I really wanted Metroid Prime 4, I was like, come on, maybe it might be able to stub it out. But because even I know Nintendo was humbled to see that they were nominated, had a game nominated here, but I honestly know the impact of Grand Theft Auto 6, and literally, I don't think any game can take that down. They could have like literally announced like a new Zelda game and a Mario game and stuff to further populate this category, and nothing Nintendo would have could have announced would have toppled GTA 6. I understand that's like the biggest thing that's like coming out and for gaming in like the next I don't know if it is coming out this next year or the year after, but I know it's coming up and I know it's people are very excited for it. In terms of like the other two, I guess the Metaphor Refantismo, it's already won a couple of other awards that we've covered here, so obviously no really surprise there. That's a strong game with a good narrative as well, so it makes sense to be a good role playing game. I know I had nominated like Dragon's Dogma 2 and like at least that one for my list last podcast, but obviously this Metaphor Refantismo has edged it out. And then the games for impact, I'm not quite sure what the criteria is, and obviously I would have rooted for Life is Strange, but I guess Nova or Neva or whatever kind of edged that one out as well too. So at least it's there.
Yeah. Yeah, most anticipated, like you said, GTA 6. It's going to be a behemoth, and I think it's just. I think what helps GTA 6 be the behemoth it is those that really got into GTA when it was big was the PS2 era, and you had GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas all almost back to back to back, and you had some others right after that. You had Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories and Grand Theft Auto 4 and episodes of Liberty City from Grand Theft Auto 4. You had a lot of content. And then GTA 5 came out in the PS3 and the 360, and it's been dead ever since. Like they just keep making GTA 5. It's on the PS4 and Xbox One. It's on the Series X and the PS5. And Grand Theft Auto Online has just been going steadily. So it's been well over a decade, 15 years or whatever, or maybe even more since GTA 5 at this point. So people are waiting for the next installment, and it makes sense why it's so big. For best role playing game, Metaphor absolutely deserved it, but I could tell the people who nominated don't play RPGs because Dragon's Dogma 2 should not have been there. I'm sorry, it was not a good game. There are much better RPGs, like Legend of Heroes should have been there. Ease should have been there. RPGs that they probably never touched. Dragon Quest 3 should have been there. Paper Mario. There's so many great RPGs this year that it's just weird that that was the final five that they came up with. But
Yeah, and then you
Metaphor
said the
winning,
Elden Ring is
I'm fine.
DLC as well too, so that's even kind of
Elden
weird.
Ring is DLC. Yep.
So that's like, how is that really even like a actual game? It's just it'd be like the Breath of the Wild
It's
Champions pack winning like best RPG. Like,
exactly. It's add-on content. Games for Impact. I'm fine with Nev. I've heard good things about it. I was pulling for Life is Strange as well, but I'm glad it went. Like I said, at least it got nominated. So I'm gonna skip content creator. I don't think any of us care. I don't know anybody there. Best action adventure. Astrobot won that one. Prince of Persia: Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, and Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom all got nominated. Best action. Black Myth Wukong 1, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2, and Stellar Blade all got nominated. And Best Fighting Tekken 8 1 with Dragon Ball, Sparking Zero, Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, and Multiverses nominated. So of these four, what do you think? Or three, I'm sorry. What do you think?
Well, yeah, like you, I didn't really recognize any of the content creators, so it's fine to obviously skip that. In terms of like the best action adventure, obviously would have preferred Echoes of Wisdom as the game that I played, but I wasn't quite sure if like Astrobot is considered like a an adventure game because I thought it's more of like a platformer. So that's why I was kind of surprised that it was added to this category. I mean, I am still happy that at least got a few like extra awards here, but I don't feel like it was a at least a right fit for this kind of category. But still good, I guess it technically won, even though it doesn't really fit the category because it still is a game that I really would love to play. In terms of like best action game, I didn't really play most like any of those, so um, it's nice to see some at least some different games represented here because I think there was like a few other ones like Helldivers 2 and stuff in other categories. So it's always great to see other games kind of share the love with other games that are out there. So I'm happy that a different game won, like Black Myth. And then best fighting game, I know Tekken is a very serious fighting game, so it's not like a series that I've really played, but obviously I'm kind of happy to see that it does have like a strong following and it probably really deserves it, even though I don't particularly enjoy the Tekken game specifically.
Yeah, so for best action adventure, I'm sorry, Astrobot shouldn't even be in this category. It's a platformer. It is not an action adventure game. It is a platformer. I mean, technically, like Silent Hill 2 is like, survival horror and Prince of Persia's Metroidvania, but at least those I can see. Platformer, no. That's like Mario going in there. Like Mario's not an action adventure game. It's a platformer game. And that should be its own category. And the fact that they have to shoehorn in Astrobot into action adventure tells me A, there's not enough platformers, and B, that's robbing another game of getting an award. Um, which sucks. So I'm not a fan of that. Zelda or Prince of Persia should have won that easily, in my opinion. But Astrobot should not have been there. For best action, I was pulling for Stellar Blade. I think Stellar Blade was a lot of fun, and the combat was great. I haven't played Black Myth, but I've heard good things about it, and I'm happy for Black Myth and the team that won that one because that was a tough category. And fighting, I would have loved to see Marvel's Capcom Fighting Collection win, but like even when I'm nominating myself, I feel like collections are almost cheating because you've got like 9 or 8 or whatever, like some of the best fighting games ever all together. That's like someone, what's the best video game soundtrack? I always say Smash Ultimate, but that's cheating, because it's everything. So I understand why it didn't win. I wouldn't have hated to see Grand Blue or Dragon Ball win, but it makes sense why Tekken won. So going to the chat real quickly. Let's see. Jake's just said Prime 4 should have won. Dang it. Talking about most anticipated. I rooted for Metroid Prime 4, but there was no stopping GTA 6.
Same.
Oh, he said actually it was only 11 years since GTA came out in 360. So I'm sorry, but it's still over a decade, which is what I said. So I was close. Um, Dragon Lord said, I wish Legend of Heroes would get some wins or at least some nominations. They've got so many great games under their belt now and new ones coming up. Preach, man, preach. I agree. Legend of Heroes needs more love. It's such a great franchise. Jake just said, I'm actually surprised that Zelda didn't win Action Adventure. We are too. And I would have liked to have seen Stellar Blade for Best Action. I agree. And Dragon Lord said, it's too bad DBZ didn't win, but at least it got nominated. Yes, I haven't booted it up yet. It's on my TV stand to be played. I'm excited for it. It's just so many other games. So I'll get to it probably this during the holidays. So innovation in accessibility. We got winner is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Runners up: Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age: The Veilguard, and Star Wars Outlaws. For best community support, Baldur's Gate 3 won with Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, and No Man's Sky as nominations. And best family game, Astrobot won against Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and The Plucky Squire. So, of these three, Greg, your thoughts?
Well, the innovation one, I don't for accessibility. I don't really. I guess that's like all the different options that they make to allow other people to play. So I guess it sounds like the Prince of Persia had a lot of that kind of stuff to be very user friendly and people that might not be able to play otherwise. So it's kind of great to see that that game won. I know you and Steve rather enjoyed that game. For best community support, it almost sounds like it's another version of like the best ongoing game because I feel like these are mostly the same games in that category outside of Baldur's Gate. So it's kind of great to
No, no, no. Best ongoing is from like the support from the developers. Community is from the support of the players.
okay. That's I don't know how the players really add an extra stuff besides playing the game, but
Oh,
okay.
they do.
But I don't know if they like submit ideas for new thing for the game to be improved or
It's about working together, helping newer players come in, assisting in game stuff. Like if you need help doing a task, how friendly is the community and willing to support you and help you achieve your goal and stuff like that.
ah, okay. I didn't realize that this was more like a side thing, like the content creation category type thing then. But yeah, I know Baldur's Gate 3 is pretty popular and really it was almost a series I almost bought like the 3 pack or whatever for 1, 2, and 3 on Switch, but I haven't pulled the trigger on that one yet. But I'm at least happy to see Baldur's Gate get some love there. And then we have the what I like to call the best Nintendo game category, and then Nintendo didn't win it because it's usually populated with all of Nintendo's games that they just kind of just shove into this category. And then um, Astrobot obviously winning there. I mean, it's like but said before, it was a game that I had nominated in the Game of the Year podcast last episode, so it is good to still see there. But I don't know if it's multiplayer, kind of like the Mario, some of the later Mario games are. So that does seem kind of interesting that it's in a family game because I would think like some of the family games might have like some light multiplayer elements to enjoy as a family because I wouldn't think like some of the solo games, like even I think like Echoes of Wisdom feels like kind of out of place because that's not multiplayer. But um, I don't
I
know.
feel like best family game is just a nice way of them saying best E for rated E for everyone game kind of deal.
Yeah, that makes sense. And obviously, just don't have any blood and don't have any bad language in it, so it's pretty easy to get nominated in that category, I guess. Then,
That's why Nintendo's there often. So for innovation and accessibility, I'm absolutely fine with Prince of Persia. There was a lot of good options. So I'm happy with that one. Best community support. I'm biased. I'm part of the Final Fantasy 14 community. I'm sorry, we're better than you, Baldur's Gate 3. I will flat out say it, and I'll die on that hill. But I love Baldur's Gate 3 too, as well. So congratulations there. But I have to go with where I'm at. Exist. Best family game. I understand Astrobot winning, but again, this is one of those where I kind of wish they spread the love a little bit, and I would have liked to see an Echoes of Wisdom take home something. But alas, poor Yorick, it was not meant to be. So moving on, we have the best Sims strategy game, which went to Frostpunk 2, Age of Mythology Retold. This is a Steve game. Kunitsu Gami, Path of the Goddess, Manor Lords, and Unicorn Overlord were all nominated as well. Best sports slash racing game went to EA Sports FC 25, F1 24, NBA 2K 25, Top Spin 2K 25, and WWE 2K 24 were all nominated. And best VR AR game went to Batman Arkham Shadow with Arizona Sunshine Remake, Asgard's Wrath 2, Metal Hellsinger VR, and Metro Awakening up for the award. What are your thoughts?
I wasn't really familiar with a lot of the sim and strategy games this time around. Obviously, I'm glad that we did not see like a lawnmower simulator nominated in this category. So that's just my funny joke there. I do know like Unicorn Overlord was quite popular with a lot of others. I know I didn't really particularly enjoy it, but from my understanding, it seems like there was a lot of people that did like that one. So that was kind of a surprise to me that that one didn't overtake it. But like, I'm not really familiar with the other 4 games, so for all I know, Frostpunk 2 could have been something right up my alley to further enjoy. But obviously, it's always good to see new games in this category than all the previous ones that we've already seen winners there. And we go on to the best EA game. So it's they have like they're basically their own category. um,
Well,
obviously,
no, they don't. There's only like what one game. I don't know if F1 is EA, but all the other ones are 2K. They're not EA games at all.
I guess I'm just used to EA used back in the day owning all the licenses for like NBA and
Yeah, not
all that
anymore.
stuff. But um, yeah, it's obviously good to see that that representation here because I do know there are a lot of gamers that tend to go after like the sports games. It's not usually my forte unless it's like a Mario sports game, but it's great to see some other nominations here. So glad to see that there's this category still ongoing. Then in terms of the VR AR games, another set of games that I've never really played, and um, I think I did see like a commercial or something recently for the Batman one, and that was actually kind of interesting because it's like we were actually playing as Batman, and you're like looking through his goggles, almost kind of like you were playing whatever like like how you play Metroid through Samus's eyes. So that seems like it would be kind of fun to check out, especially if like you're a Batman fan. So that's probably a pretty well good honor to have won that one.
Yeah, so for me, best sim strategy, I was pulling for Unicorn Overlord. It's not a category for me. It's a category for you, Greg.
Yep.
Sorry you didn't like Unicorn Overlord, but it's definitely one that I was pulling for. But you know what? Now you can look through the nominations and you could actually say, hey, you know what? Maybe one of these games is something up your alley. So maybe you could find your next favorite game. For best sports racing game, what I pick out of this is the lack of racing. One racing game. I would have liked to see more racing games. I do enjoy them, but I'm not a soccer fan. But I'm sure Steve would be happy with EA Sports FC 25. Just not the Switch version. Just
Yeah.
not the Switch version. For VR AR game, I haven't played any of these. Well, that's not true. I did boot up Asgard Wrath 2. I'm actually surprised that didn't win because that got like tens across the board when it came out. But Batman's also getting really good reviews. So either way, it's a win for that category. And you know, I'm a Batman fan. I just haven't played Arkham Shadow. I don't know if it'll make me sick, which it probably will. So that's probably why I haven't played it. All right. So we're gonna skip the next few. Their best esports game, the winner was League of Legends. Best esports athlete, the winner was Faker, and best esports team, the winner was T1 from League of Legends. I don't think we really have anything to say about the esports stuff. So we're just gonna go down to the final areas before we get to Game of the Year. The Game Changer Award. This first time award for the Game Awards was given to Amir Satvat in his honor of his commitment to helping game developers affected by layoffs and studio closures find jobs through a job database. And then the Player's Voice Award, which was apparently it was like 30 different games they picked, and the players could nominate it down and pick their winner. And they nominated it down to 5 games, and the winner was Black Myth Wukong with Wuthering Waves, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, Genshin Impact, and Zenless Zone Zero, rounding out the 5 that the players picked. That we had everyone had the choice to vote for this. No money was involved. This is what people decided were the top 5 games. So, what are your thoughts on these, Greg?
Yeah, it was obviously pretty much don't really know too much about the esports type game. Like I know those are like the more competitive scene, but obviously I know League of Legends is pretty popular. I obviously don't not familiar with the athlete as we kind of skipped like the similar category there, and same thing with the esports team. So it kind of easy to kind of skip there. And then the game changer award, I did like see like the presentation, like in like the speech and everything for this. That was very um, heartfelt because obviously I throughout this entire year we covered a lot of headlines of different studios that have like closed or merged or shut down or whatever the case may be of people losing their jobs, and it's very great that there is somebody out there that was helping people like find more work within the gaming industry. So I thought that was a very awesome award to give to someone because his dedication to make sure that these talented people don't go unnoticed and can get find other studios to work at. So lots of those negative news that we covered throughout the year. So it's just great to see that there is somebody out there providing help and like a free resource to everybody and everything. That's so great to hear that. And then obviously for the player's choice, I didn't really. participate in that, but I guess that Black Myth game is pretty highly rated as it was in other categories here. So it was obviously still great to see that that was like the players' recognition of one of their favorite games.
Yeah, so I'm happy about the Game Changer Award. I hope this keeps going. I know there's been some criticisms because some people said that he just made a spreadsheet and that he apparently works for um, Tencent, which is one of the biggest companies out there that has done layoffs and stuff. So I'm not so sure about all the sincerity. And it was a beautiful speech. So there's a lot to dig into, but I think the award is a good idea. And if Amir has helped people, then that's great. We need it. This industry had a lot of layoffs, and I'm so glad Jeff Keighley actually addressed that. But it's I'm interested to see where the award goes, further on in the future. As for the player's voice, boy, have I never been more disappointed in gamers as a whole. I'm happy that Black Myth Wukong one of these five, but we literally boiled it down to three gotcha games, a DLC, and Black Myth. And of everything, this is what the people picked. Like, do people not play games outside of gotcha or DLC at this point? Like, there's so many great games out there. Get out there and play them, people. Like, there's so many others that deserving, but that's what people pick. So it is what it is. So before we go to the game of the year, let's go back to the chat and let's see what people are saying. Um, so Jakester said that he's actually surprised that Zelda didn't win action adventure. I agree. Like the scenes. Oh, we did read that already. So Jakester gets double. Oh, the one time Nintendo didn't win family game, Jakester says. Agreed. Best kid friendly game is what family game is. See, I could see that. Like I said, E for everyone. Would have liked to have seen Unicorn Overlord for Sim Strategy, Jakester said. Dragon Lord agreed. He loves that game. And apparently, Jakester's getting it for Christmas. So, Merry Christmas, Jakester. Enjoy Unicorn Overlord. Jakester said, I don't think he would be into Frostpunk, Greg. So, I don't know. Watch the trailer. I'm curious to know why now. But you would like Unicorn Overlord, Lord. Greg tried it.
Yeah, Jigsaw, I had tried the demo. I wasn't sure if it was just something I didn't quite understand or didn't fully dive into, or maybe the full game has something that I just wasn't understanding. But I can always definitely give it another shot. I just wasn't terribly impressed with the demo, but I'll let Barry continue talking.
No, yeah, so maybe you would like it if you give it another shot. Jakester said Genshin was not from this year. You're right, Genshin was not from this year, which is very weird. But it was nominated by the people. But Dragon Lord at the same time was happy to see some love for Genshin Impact. So there you go. All right. So now the time you've all been waiting for, and if this was all you cared about, then hopefully you enjoyed the rest of it. But game of the year. Game of the year was down to 6 games: Metaphor ReFantazio, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, Black Myth Wukong, Balatro, and Astrobot. And if you haven't watched by now, the winner was Astrobot. Greg, what are your
Well,
thoughts?
as I've already previously stated, I had nominated that game last podcast, so it doesn't come as a huge surprise. But after seeing like some of the further representation, it's like we had more DLC, and then like like with the Elden Ring game, and then even like the mobile game Balatro had managed to topple some of the other things for the entire gaming year. So that seems kind of interesting that a mobile game would be in like the top six here, but I guess the other ones at least are pretty, at least deserving to be in this particular category. So obviously, I'm still happy that Astrobot won, but I'm kind of surprised a game like Echoes of Wisdom wasn't more represented here instead of like the DLC for Elden Ring.
Yeah, I was pulling for Metaphor or Astrobot myself, so it was a shock to see. I think it's a great game. It's a lot of fun. I hope this gives a sign that we're going to get some more 3D platformers. Could always use more 3D platformers. So for me, that was good. I'm glad Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree didn't win. Because it was DLC. I also Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is kind of in that. It's like sort of DLC if you think about it. but it is his own original game. But Black Myth and Balatro all could have won it, but Astrobot takes it. So that ends the game of the year for the Game Awards stuff. But there were some other announcements because we all know Jeff Keighley's show is all about announcements. It's a giant infomercial. So I'm just gonna run through some of the announcements that happened. This is not all of them. We would be here all day. There were so many. Um, and then Greg, you go over your thoughts on the ones I talked about or ones I missed. We'll just talk briefly about uh, all the awards or all the stuff. So first off, we and these are not in any particular order. I'm reading off an IGN article, so they're going in the order that they dictated, not what I dictated. So Naughty Dog has a brand new game called Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet coming out. Okami 2 was unveiled. We don't know what systems, but I'm sure Nintendo will get there. Witcher 4 was revealed. Elden Ring Night Rain is a standalone co-op spin-off. I like how Jeff Keighley had to keep saying like, "Oh, this is standalone," because he knew the backlash that happened. Um, Fumito Ueda's next game, codenamed Project Robot, was officially revealed. Uh, let's see. Mafia: The Old Country trailer reveals first look at linear narrative-driven sequel, which is coming in summer 2025. Dispatch is a star-studded new game that stars Aaron Paul, Jeffrey Wright, Laura Bailey, and more. Split Fiction is Joseph Ferris' new co-op adventure game, aka the guy who gets up there and curses all the time, and he made It Takes Two. Onimusha is finally coming back from by Capcom. The Outer Worlds 2 is coming out. Brand new trailer was shown off. Last of Us Part 2 is coming to PC, so it can be nominated for Game of the Year again. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming to PC next year, so it could also get nominated again. Final Fantasy 16's Clive Rossfelt is joining Tekken 8. Borderlands 4 gameplay was shown off. Virtual Fighter is coming back from Sega. We saw that one. Yakuza Like a Dragon dev, the RGG studio, announces Project Sentry. Sonic is getting a brand new racing game called Cross Worlds. We haven't seen one of those in a while. Turok is coming back as a third person action co op game. Ninja Gaiden returns as a side scroller with Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, like pixel art. Looks really cool. Big as Thieves is coming out. It's a first person action game, like in the vein of Thief. Slay the Spire 2 got a brand new trailer. Brand new Pac-Man game called Shadow Labyrinth, which is based off of the secret level episode of Pac-Man. The Sifu's developers are making a multiplayer soccer game that's online that Steve says looks terrible, according to the live chat that we had in our Discord, which is another reason to join our Discord. Power World's next expansion is Fay Break and comes out this month. And Dave the Diver in the Jungle is a new expansion coming in late 2025. So those are just some of the announcements. There were plenty more. Greg, just overall thoughts on those games or those announcements or any that you saw that really stood out to you?
Okami is definitely one of the ones that was stood out to me, and I'd need to play that on Switch again. I never got a chance to complete it. I know like some of the rumor mill is going crazy, thinking that Nintendo would reveal like the Switch 2 at the Game Awards, and I was like, you guys are out of your mind. That's atrocious. Don't even go there. And obviously, Nintendo didn't have like their typical reveal to say like, oh, you can play as a Cranky Kong and KC Returns here that launches next month or something like that. So like they didn't have something very silly to announce like they're heavily known for, at least in the more recent years. I know they had shown off like Legend of Zelda, and that was obviously a really cool thing to see a few years ago for like, the Champions Pack. I think that was back in 2017 Game Awards, I think. And then obviously then there was a few for Smash Ultimate reveals for the DLC fighters, but I wasn't honestly expecting Nintendo to have any representation for like upcoming things unless it was like a Metroid Prime 4 trailer, but I didn't even see that as a potential possibility. I think they're just holding on that for next year. Yeah, I think a lot of the announcements didn't really have a lot of major impact outside of Okami because we don't know like what systems and stuff that all the projects are being like announced for. So it's kind of hard to say outside of at least Okami that I know does have like a history of being on Wii, and then it was ported to Switch. But yeah, it's still great to see that there are companies that are sharing like some great announcements and upcoming games and DLC or whatever, and it's great to obviously share that with a wide audience that watches the Game Awards. I think it was shown that it was one of the highest watched award shows, at least like the gaming awards, in terms of comparison to the previous years.
Yeah, no, I think the majority of people. I think he even did a poll like, "Would you watch the Game Awards with without the announcements?" And most people said like no. Like, and I do think there should be two separate shows, but this is what we have. Um, so just going to the chat before I keep on going. Let's see. Jakester said that he's happy that one, Astrobot won, and two, DLC didn't win Game of the Year. Fine with that, Jakester. Agree. Dragon Lord said my choice amongst the final list would have been Metaphor or Final Fantasy. I do think Metaphor should have won, but I'm happy with Astrobot. Jakester said he's hyped for Okami too. Dragon Lord said so many games coming out in the next few months. Trails through Daybreak 2, Atelier Yumiya, Dynasty Warriors Origins, Tales of Graces F, just to name a few. I almost forgot about Xenoblade Chronicles X. Yeah, there's so many great games, and so many of those I'm very interested in. And Jakester said he's excited for the new Double Dragon game that was announced and Stage Fright from the Overcooked devs. Yeah, the new Double Dragon looked really good. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Ninja Gaiden. I'm excited for Okami 2. Those are big. Sonic Racing. I really enjoy the Sonic Racing game, so I'm excited for that. I'm happy to see Sega bringing their older IPs back. And last year they had that really cool trailer saying they were going to do a lot of that, but we haven't really seen much from it. But now we get Virtual Fighter coming back, which is really cool. So I'm interested to see where they go. I think those that were expecting something big from Nintendo are probably disappointed. They should realize by now Nintendo likes to control the narrative. They can control the narrative with the Nintendo Direct, and they don't have to pay for it. If you advertise at the Game Awards, you have to pay for it. So because of that, Nintendo doesn't want to. Why should they pay money? They announced Switch 2 announcement that's gonna blow up on YouTube. They don't have to pay money for it. That will blow up. People will share it. It doesn't matter. So expecting anything from Nintendo at this point at the Game Awards, unless they were up for like Game of the Year, like 2017. They had two games in the Game of the Year category. 2022 they had two games in the gaming Game of the Year category. Uh, those years you could expect, hey, maybe they're going to show up and do something. But otherwise, Doug Bowser was there, but it was just there as a formality. And Reggie didn't even get up and present, even though he's not with Nintendo anymore. My only prediction that could have been would have been a Metroid Prime 2 or 3 remake announcement or port or something like that. But that didn't even come to fruition. So, um, yeah, Nintendo not really going to be showing up much there. But yeah, that covers the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley's version of the Game Awards. And just remember, if you are big into award seasons, first off, go back just one episode ago, and watch or listen to our Game of the Year episode, where we count down our favorite games from 2024. And also remember that in just a few days, on the 19th, the Indie Game Awards will be happening. So there's yet another award show to go on. So just taking this moment quickly also to say, please make sure to follow us on social media. Join our Discord. We had a live chat going on during the Game Awards presentation. That was a lot of fun. So you could join the Discord and be a part of that. We would love to see you there. And also make sure to send in your questions at podcast@nintendofuse.com and we will answer them. So now we have the segment where we go over the upcoming games for the next few weeks, and of course, we are taking a little bit of a break. We will be back on January 14th. So there's a little bit of a break. Normally at this point, Steve will sit here and he'll highlight a few games. Um, we did not go through that, so we don't have specific games to highlight. Of course, this is a more quiet part of the year. So Greg has those titles scrolling on screen right now. We want to know what you're excited to play during the course of the rest of December, the holiday season, as well as into January. Greg, what are you looking forward to playing?
Mostly, I'll probably be continuing the games that I've already been established, like Mario and Luigi Brothership, and hoping to also jump more back into Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D and some other games along that regard. I don't really know if there's gonna be tons of stuff even releasing over like this holiday season, because I know eventually we'll get to the point where there's some that just says 2024 and they just haven't really simple been updated to be shown. So I don't think that there's gonna be any major releases, and I'll try to see if we can find some like in January, but it'll probably be just me just tackling games that have released earlier this year. I don't believe there's anything on my radar for that's being released by the end of the year and before the next podcast.
Yeah, DKC returns is January 16th, so that actually comes after our podcast, or our next one. But yeah, for me, this holiday season, I plan to continue doing more Castlevania and Contra games is what my main goal. Plus, getting through a few titles that I have yet to get a chance to really sit down and play. Romancing Saga 2, I want to do, and Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and Dragon Age: The Veilguard, and maybe play some random other games that come our way. We'll definitely have some game chats to be recording during this time period, so we'll have those out. But yeah, it's the slower season. It's the not a lot of brand new games coming out. But there's still a ton of games to play. So hopefully you're all have your plans. Let's see. Did anyone? Yeah. So Jakester said he's gonna finish Zelda and hopefully finish Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher. The Pokemon Sleep Christmas event starts on Monday, and still gonna be playing Pikmin Bloom. Jakester, I feel like for the last couple episodes, you said you were going to be finishing Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher, and every time I turn on my Switch, I see you pop up playing Ultra Kaiju Monster Rancher. So I feel like that game just never ends, or it's really got its hooks set into you. Uh, so, so just yeah. So thank you everybody for tuning in. Greg, holiday plans. We've got the holidays here. We've got New Year's going into January. We're back January 14th, so we've got a couple weeks in January before we come back. What are your plans this holiday season? It's the first one with you and your new wife. What do you
Yeah,
guys
so
got?
yeah, so we'll probably be doing some time between both of our families. I know for Christmas Eve, I'll be pretty much at my parents' house, and then my daughter will be added in later when she gets dropped off by her mom. And then my wife did want to see like her dad's side because her grandfather passed away earlier this year, so she felt it pretty important to support her dad's side of the family as the first Christmas without the grandfather being present. Unfortunately, just due to like the being like a 45-minute drive, it didn't really make sense for me to be out there just for a little bit and then have to make it back in time to have my daughter dropped off in time for that. So um, then the three of us will be spending the day together on Christmas Day. I mean, obviously, Belle will have like her Christmas morning here at the house, and then we'll probably be moving on. I think like Kelly's a step side of the family will be doing most of the day on Christmas Day, so it'll be great to still be having some time with family and everybody there. So I will get a chance to like, see my family on the Christmas Eve, and then probably more at least part of her family on Christmas Day. So those are the main plans there. I did take off of work on that Monday, Thursday, and Fridays, and so I'm pretty much off for like the rest of the 2024 after this Friday. So that'll be great to have some time to just be able to get stuff done around the house, and also hopefully have some good time to play some of these games that are on my backlog before 2025.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, it sounds like you're going to be very busy. We're gonna be busy here too. I got the in-laws in town right now for the week. We just went to the mall and saw Santa, and of course my kid cried like crazy. Like, no, why are you handing me to this strange man? Like, come on, I want mommy, I want daddy. Who is this person? Why are you giving him to me? Or me to him. So that was fun. But we did get pictures, but Santa was off to the side. It was pretty funny.
Well,
Next year will definitely be different.
hopefully got some good photos at least. Hopefully maybe one smiling
Yeah,
or
yeah, we
one with
did.
less tears.
Yeah, we did get one with him crying. That was funny. Like I was like, all right, like look back on it and laugh, and I'm totally gonna use that and show his like girlfriends as he gets older. Like, look at him with Santa. But yeah, we're gonna be spending it just a quiet Christmas here. Just the three of us, and doing gifts for the little man. It's all about him at this age, and gonna be putting together toys. Something I've always seen in sitcoms, but now it's like, oh yeah, I got to put together things after he goes to bed and get things ready for Christmas morning because my father-in-law said let's get him a Power Wheels for a year and a half, and so now he has a Power Wheels that I don't know where we're gonna store, and it's winter, but sure, let's go for Power Wheels in the winter. I tried to say let's do it in the summer for his birthday, but no, no, we're doing it in the winter. Here we are. But no, just looking forward to some relaxation time with the family and looking forward to a good 2025. Let's make 2025 even better than 2024. That's what I say. Uh, Want to bring it to the chat real quickly. Dragon Lord says, I hope you all have a wonderful holiday and a happy start to the new year and plenty of gaming in between. Thank you, Dragon Lord. We hope the same for you. Jakester also said he's on the post game stuff now and basically just unlocking all the monsters. So that makes sense. You're 100%ing at this point. So hopefully you finish up soon. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope the absence of Steve wasn't too bad. But feel free to send all the letters to Steve saying, "Oh, we missed you. Please come back. I can't believe they did a show without you." And thank you for joining us for this bonus episode, so to speak. And on behalf of the entire team, thank you for everything. We all appreciate you and for everything you've done and your support and sharing this out to your friends and just growing our community. We really do appreciate it. So happy holidays to everybody. Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Happy New Year. Greg, any final thing you want to say before we wrap up our 2024 season?
Yeah, hopefully, they don't announce the Switch 2 before our next episode because we are going to be covering our yearly predictions. We always like to kick off our first episode of the year with predictions for the year. So hopefully they can at least wait for the after January 13th to unveil this mystery council. So,
14th.
but yeah, happy holidays, everyone, and hope happy to see everyone back in January. And obviously, with Steve be able to run things a little bit more smoothly than hopefully that I was able to do. But it's great that we were able to do this
It
episode here for everyone here, and thanks everybody for tuning in.
Absolutely. And remember to follow us on social media, join our Discord, all that stuff. We will be back January 14th, unless something magical happens and Nintendo makes us come back a little earlier. But the plan is January 14th, we will have our predictions for 2025. Those could drastically change depending on the first 2 weeks of January and what Nintendo does. So we look forward to having you all back with us then. We look forward to talking to you all then. And until we talk again, have a good one.
See you next time.